Hi everyone, my name is Aisha Verano and you're welcome to Christian Therapy Podcast. Hi guys, how are you guys doing? So Happy New Year actually. I think this is my first episode this year. Happy New Year. I hope you are having an amazing day. So what I started doing, so today is the 1st of February. And what I am doing is a 21-day fasting and praying session. And I thought, why not share the revelation I get every single day from the Holy Spirit and, what my Bible study is for that day. So that's what I'm going to be sharing with you guys. Now, just so you know, the episodes are going to be really short because unless God gives me a specific word and I just keep going on and on about it. So just to give you some context, today I was reading the first chapter in John. So John chapter 1, and I read the whole chapter. And for me, one thing I wanted to actually focus on now, there are so many beautiful things in this chapter, and I would encourage you to read it. So for example, for some of you who ask questions such as, is Jesus God? I think this verse really explains it very well. And I think it also explains, there have been some people who have previously said that John the Baptist is Elijah, or the spirit of Elijah reincarnated into John the Baptist. So John the Baptist is truly Elijah. But just to draw people's attention to verse 21, which says, they asked him, then who are you? Are you Elijah? He said, I am not. So it's so important that if you listen to this podcast today, if anyone ever tells you John the Baptist is Elijah, well, John the Baptist said he was not Elijah, okay? All right. But yeah, let's move on to what I really wanted to talk about today. So if we go back to John chapter 1 and instead focus on verse 6, it says, there was a man sent from God whose name was John. He came as a witness to testify concerning the light, so that through him all might believe. He himself was not the light. He came only as a witness to the light. It's interesting reading what he said. There was a man sent from God whose name was John. He came as a witness. For me, as soon as I read that verse 7, I was like, John had a clarity of purpose. He knew that he came as a witness to testify concerning the light. He knew what his purpose was. Even when he was being asked if he was the Messiah, he's like, no. And then when they were asking him, why then do you baptize if you're not the Messiah, nor Elijah, nor the prophet? This was in verse 25. And he said, I baptize with water, John replied, but among you stands one you do not know. He's the one who comes after me, the straps of whose sandals I am not worthy to untie. And one thing I also wanted to go back to was verse 22. Finally, they said, who are you? Give us an answer to take back to those who sent us. What do you say about yourself? And guess what John said? In verse 23, John replied in the words of Isaiah the prophet, I'm the voice of one calling in the wilderness, make straight the way for the Lord. For me, I'm just like, this man John had clarity of purpose. So one thing I want all of us to take from this is that it is so important to have clarity of purpose. If you also think about Jesus, when people asked him, who he was and what he was doing, he was very clear. I have come that they may have life and have it to the full. Jesus was very clear about what his purpose was on earth. John was clear about what his purpose was. He had a clarity of what his purpose was. And for me, it just made me think, wow, I do not yet have that much clarity about what my purpose is. And so for me, I'm encouraging you and I and everyone listening to this episode today to encourage you to listen to the Holy Spirit. Ask the Holy Spirit, what is my purpose? What is that thing that you specifically want me to achieve? And how do you want me to achieve that? Now, I know parts of it. Like, I have to be honest, there's some times where you don't know the full picture as yet, but then the Holy Spirit will continue to unveil these things to you, and when he does, you have to be there to receive it. So when I say John had a clarity of purpose, Jesus had clarity of purpose, I'm working towards having the clarity of purpose. I'm working towards having clarity of purpose. I'm working towards making and knowing exactly what. Like, I know certain things that the Holy Spirit wants me to do. I know certain things that are in alignment with what he wants me to do over time. But in terms of being so specific to say, my name, this is what God has called me to do. This is a specific thing he has asked me to do. And I want to encourage every single person today, spend time with the Holy Spirit. Ask him, what do you want me to do? What is my purpose? Why exactly did you create me? Why did you leave me in this world? What was your plan for me? What do you want me to do with my life? And he will continue to reveal these things to you. And for me, I will continue to do that as well, and I encourage you to do that. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share with you guys today. If you've enjoyed listening to this episode, please make sure you share. It's so important. Please get the word out.